Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. It's me, spiritual medium, psychotherapist, and author Kellee White. And welcome to Ask Me Anything for October 23rd, 2025. Let me say hi to some people. And then I've got a lot to say as usual. We're going to be talking about gratitude. We're going to be talking about the Vedic astrology of what's going on right now. And also just some random things that have happened, which I think are interesting. So let me just say hi to Sherry Craft. Hi, Sherry. You're grateful because we're talking about gratitude tonight. I'm grateful the hawk that eat the rats in my garden. I've seen a lot of hawks lately around and a lot of turkey vultures. And is that what they're doing out there in the hay fields, or I should say the corn was all cut down around me. And that's all I see are a lot of those and a lot of raccoons, lots of raccoons. But I bet you that's what they're doing. Hi, Melissa. Is it true that a view of happiness and gratitude are not circumstantial, but are daily homework? Yes. Yes, everybody needs to practice gratitude. It's not a one and done. It's a constant, you have to remind yourself, because what you're ultimately doing is raising your vibration by doing it. So you're training your brain, which is what we're going to talk about today. Yeah, mindset over circumstances. Correct, Melissa. Thinking and creating a positive mindset. Absolutely. That's what we want to do. Hi, Sandy Dudner. Power of 10 was so fun. It was great to see you too, Sandy, and everybody that participated. And I'll let everybody know I'm not doing one for November, but I am doing one for December. And I think it's December 6th yet, but Michelle and I have to go over it, but I'm pretty sure that's the date. And we won't put it up yet. But thank you, Sandy. It was great to see you. And again, when I do this Power of 10, it's the wildest thing. There seems to be a theme. There's always some theme that happens for everybody. And the theme, I think, that day was about not getting stuck. People, it was funny. Everybody had been stuck in certain areas. And in life, we will get stuck at times. And then we'll be either gently pushed or thrown into some change. Kicking or screaming, which is usually how it happens with me. Hi, Dee Dee. Gratitude is the memory of the heart. Jean-Baptiste Massou. I don't know if I said that right, but I love that. Gratitude is the memory of the heart. Oh, Dee Dee, that's really a good one. From chilly Chicago. Yes, it has been chilly here today. We actually are going to have our first frost. We had to bring in what was left of our plants. In Los Angeles, I never thought of that. It wasn't ever anything I had to think about. But here, I have to really think about it, to be mindful of everything, especially with the plants. Hi, Renee Rossiter. Glorious evening. Blessings, Kellee, and everyone here. I'm grateful for the guidance and beautiful energy tonight. You are so sweet, Renee. Love it to see you. That's so sweet. Hi, Sasha. Oh, that's so sweet. Wasn't today, if you go to my social media, today we had a post that Michelle, if you're listening, you knocked it out of the park. It was on numerology of your home. And I love to talk about numbers. And so, adding up the numbers and seeing what the meaning is for you. Because each home has a different energy. Every home has a special energy. And sometimes people will say, Kellee, should I buy this house or that house? And I will look at the numbers and I'll say, this house brings up this one does this. Sometimes we'll have a home and you'll think, why did I only live there for a small amount of time? Well, it may have been a 5. 5s tend to make people move or change. Or you could have a 5 with a lot of change in the house. So lots of things to think about with that. I could do another show on that another time, but hi, Karen Wilson. I'm excited for this topic. Last night I watched comedy. Great idea. And after 30 minutes, I sat and I journaled. What came out were words of gratitude. Oh, Karen, that's so great. So great. Jen says, hi, Jen. She says, Kellee, I'm grateful for waking up, right? Having a roof over my head. Yep. 3 healthy kids. Yep. And love for my fur babies. Believe it or not, the year I've had, that's a lot. Okay, everybody should know that Jen lost her husband not that long ago, 3 or 4 months ago. And she also lost a very good friend, too, of her husband's, which was kind of it was a lot, Jen, for you. And considering all the loss that you've had, it's amazing that you're saying that. Thank you, honey. I'm grateful to see that for you. Really. It's very inspiring as we all go through a lot. And these are times of really going through an awful lot. Boy. Hi, Angela. Hi, Angela. Sherry says, I'm grateful for Tuesday. It was my 80th, and I stopped doing my do-it-yourself, and I got on my kayak to take a paddle. I saw a great blue heron, and when I turned my boat around, a red dragonfly hovered 3 inches from my face. Okay, how great is that? I think that's great. Hi, Linda and Donna Mae. I think that's really, really great. Well, let's before I get into our topic, I want to tell you a couple of things. If you have followed me, for the last couple of shows I've been talking about a cow that we had. I live on a farm in Wisconsin, and we lease a lot of our acres to a farmer who brings his cows over to our land to graze. And I am in love with these cows. I love them. I am so attached to these cows. So it was time to take the cows and to put them in another field. I dread that time. I just dread it. I just am so attached to them, but I know they'll be back in the spring, but still I just don't like that. I get very attached. So I cannot practice non-attachment with these cows. I just can't. So anyway, there was one cow that was remaining. Her name was Karen. I loved this cow. And she refused to go. She refused to go with the herd. And we were so upset over this. She was just wandering around and she wouldn't go back. She stayed out without, they had food. They'd bring food to her, but she was out for almost 2 weeks. I think it was 12 days or something. I mean, that was a long time. And every day, Dawn and I are like, where's Karen? Where is she? Is she going to come back to the herd? Anyway, they finally were able to coax her in to take her, off to be with the other cows. But it turned out that she was really upset because they had taken the bull away from her, and she loved this bull. So, just like, we all attach as humans, animals, we all feel. And I was really moved by that. So I was happy to say that Karen is back with the herd, and I was really happy to hear that. But I have another story to tell you that this is for people that need a little, when they've had loss, and everybody's had loss, but when you've had loss, especially from a spouse or a loved one, it could be anybody. But here's what happened this morning. I have a client who I have seen for 15 years every single week. For 15 years, every single week. She was one of my first clients ever. And she has remained with me 15 years later. So every week I see her. And her husband passed a few years ago. And she said to me, when her husband passed, he was very musical. And when her husband passed, she had this little squeaker toy. It was a squeaker pig. It was one of her animals had it. One of her dogs had it. It's a squeaker pig like this. So it would always say oink, 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 oink like this when she would squeeze it. And it was on her desk in her bedroom. And in the middle of the night, for the first probably 2 years that her husband had passed away, every once in a while she would hear this bup, bup, oink, oink, oink from this squeaker. And there was nobody home. So it was her husband waking her up. And this went on for, at least 2 years, maybe even 3 years. Well, he hadn't done this for at least a couple of years. And I was talking to her today. She said, I don't know. Is my husband still around? I think about him all the time. She said, I don't hear anymore from my pig and my little squeaky pig. And she said, I said, look, he's definitely around you. He's not, they were so in love. I said, he's definitely around you. I'll be damned. Right then, in front of me, the squeaky pig starts squeaking. Oink, 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 oink. And it was like, yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. It was the wildest. We both jumped up. It was so amazing. I've been thinking about that all day. I just think it's such an extraordinary story. Again, always know our loved ones are around. They may not be able to perform for us, like, please, blow out that candle for me, or, make this pig squeak, which that I have to say that even blew me away. because it happened right. Well, he wanted me to know that too. This is extraordinary. But just because they're not out there performing these kind of things that we would like them to do, they are there with us. Whether you want to believe it or not, they are always there with us. So always know that. And I thought that was such a great validating story to provide for that. And the other thing I want to mention before I get into the astrology is the veil is getting thinner. And so I really want everybody to pay attention to their dreams, because my sister had the wildest experience in the middle of the night. She apparently, our grandfather, my mother's side, came to my sister in the middle of the night. She lives in Los Angeles. And he said to her, I want you to look up, like, I want you to know something like, I want you to know we're all with you. We're all supporting you. All of your great grandparents. And he went through this whole list with her. She said, and we're very different people. And I had to laugh at that. We're very different. But she said, Kellee, I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. My sister gets up at 5 in the morning, just like she can't believe this dream that she's had, that all the ancestors are there with her. So she starts going on some site to find the gravestones of all of these ancestors. And she went back 7 generations. And she said, Kellee, I've never felt so loved and such strength and such support. And I just want everybody to know that our ancestors are there for us as well. It's not just our recent loved ones. It's our ancestors are there too, because they do understand that these are really challenging times. Listen, when they were on Earth, it was challenging then too. It's challenging now. But they always want us to know that we get through things and that the soul never dies. So always know that. Our ancestors are there. And for my sister to start texting me at 5 o'clock in the morning from LA, I was just floored about this. And it's given her like a new lease on life, or a renewed sense of joy or peace or calmness or whatever, something like that. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. So let's talk about the Vedic astrology for right now, what's going on. So it's October 24th tomorrow. And on October 24th, all the way to November 23rd, Mercury, the fastest moving planet, and it will be moving into Scorpio. And so that during that time, I also want to mention this, and this is why it's important. It's important. On November 9th, Mercury goes retrograde, and it's retrograde through the end of November, like to the 29th. So I know a lot of people go away and travel for Thanksgiving. I'm going to say that when Mercury goes retrograde, travel gets really, really rough and can be really challenging. So I think November for travel is going to be challenging. So also it's when Mercury in Scorpio, it has a lot to do with emotions. It has a lot to do with intense communication. So watch the way you are with other people. Please, take a step back. Take a step back if you can. Because on October 27th, so just, what is that, Monday, until December 8th, Mars transits into Scorpio. So we'll have Mercury in Scorpio, and we'll have Mars in Scorpio. And at the same time, it will square Rahu, which is the north node, and Rahu is in Aquarius. But Mars rules Scorpio. So this makes it very, very powerful. So what is Mars? Planet of war, planet of intensity. Oh my gosh. Power. So emotions are going to run high for sure during this period of time. And I'm going to say all of November, and it really does begin right away. You can already feel the energy of high emotions. So also this could cause, from the 27th of October, pretty much straight through, till about December 8th. Could have a lot to do with global unrest, cyber warfare, social movements, because it's squaring Rahu, and Rahu in Aquarius is about social movements. So this is also a time when Mars enters Scorpios, it's strategic and it is transformative. And we are looking at transformative times. So again, Rahu brings social movements. Rahu is a rebel and it will be squaring Mars. It's like almost like you just can't make this stuff up. This is such a powerful time. It's watching old systems dissolve, and violence can increase during these times. So I think the best thing to do is to practice gratitude that you're on earth at this time, even though it's a powerfully transformative time. It raises our vibrations. So you have to think like that. You have to think that you were uniquely chosen to be here at this time. You chose to be here, and not, as James says, 1 out of 11 souls got to be here at this time. I think that's what he said. And I think that's pretty accurate. So it's a powerful time. So if you really want us to grow, this is the best time to grow. And it's the best time to grow and to change. And I think the only way to change for ourselves is to raise our vibrations. So practicing gratitude is a way of raising our vibration. So we're going to talk about happiness begins with gratitude. And it is very, very true. It does. So one of the ways to work with gratitude, and the reason it's important, is because gratitude rewires the brain and the nervous system. So if we think about it like that, gratitude, it has a fascinating impact on the brain and on the nervous system. So you're not just doing it because, it's a hip thing to do, practice gratitude. No, you're actually doing it to raise your vibration, because the only way to change ourselves is actually to raise our vibration, thinking differently, taking good care of us, being mindful. This is not just nonsense. It's an actual thing. So when we practice gratitude, we get a neurochemical boost. And so practicing gratitude is associated with increased levels of dopamine, which makes us feel good, and serotonin, and the neurotransmitters that play key roles in regulating mood and promoting feelings of happiness and well-being. So this is a really important practice, to practice gratitude, because it can strengthen the neural pathways and that are associated with positive emotions. So I think that's really important. Gratitude can reduce the activity in the amygdala. So the amygdala, the brain center for fear. And when you can reduce the activity in that, it is very calming. You always want to calm the amygdala. And gratitude helps that lower that stress and that anxiety. So when somebody is in a state of great fear and panic and negativity and fear and panic, it's not like you can just say to somebody at that time, hey, practice gratitude. That takes some time. But when somebody's in a calm state, they can understand that to practice gratitude, and again, it's a practice, and it can reduce the activity in the amygdala. And that's really powerful. And you want to strengthen your neural connections. And so when you constantly focus on gratitude, you reinforce those neural pathways that are associated with positive emotions, positive thoughts, and it makes it easier at that point. It's a muscle, and then it makes it easier to access those feelings of gratitude. So for the future, and that's the way why you want to practice gratitude, because you're changing the brain chemistry. So what I do in the morning, I wake up, I look outside, I look at either a tree, an animal, a leaf, a bird, something that I'm grateful for. It's something makes me go, oh, nature. And I happen to really enjoy that. There was a time in my life when I lived in Los Angeles that, again, I think I probably said this many times, but nature for me at that time was driving on the 405 freeway and, maybe seeing a bird above me. So now I really have had to, understand nature, and I love it now. So that I have so much gratitude for that. So all of that took time and growth for me. So sometimes it just takes time. And again, it's a muscle and it's a memory. that you just keep practicing gratitude. You don't stop because something happened and then it got you out of the state. Pull yourself back. Pull yourself back. So also, gratitude practices like mindful breathing is a good one, or meditation, which I do every single day. That can stimulate the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is a major component of the parasympathetic nervous system, and vagus nerve stimulation promotes relaxation and reduces the heart rate and blood pressure, and it enhances overall well-being. So practicing gratitude also helps with improved sleep. It's that important. If you can develop a practice of it, because by reducing your stress, because you're training your brain differently, it promotes relaxation and it contributes to better sleep quality. So I think this is a really important one. Also, gratitude may help manage chronic pain. What it does is it influences the brain's perception of pain signals, and it promotes the release of the natural painkillers like endorphins. So it's a very powerful tool. When we came to Earth, we were given lots of natural tools, and this is one of them, practicing gratitude. So the way Spirit uses gratitude as a bridge for a higher vibration, it's very interesting because in spiritual teachings, focusing on what you're grateful for shifts your attention away from lack of or unlimited to, and instead what it does is it brings you towards abundance. It's very different. The shift in perspective is seen as raising your vibration. It's easy to go, well, it isn't for me. It would feel very uncomfortable for me to think in a negative way. I've thought in positive ways truly my whole life, even through some of the roughest times. I don't think I ever went down that negative road, but that negative energy, ugh. I don't want anything about it. It's too distracting, that negative energy. So you really want to shift your focus to a positive road here, a positive thought, because the core principle is like attracts like. So if you cultivate gratitude, you're putting out a positive energy here, and that attracts more positive experiences and more positive people and more opportunities in your life, and that raises your overall vibration. And again, the way you change in life is by raising your vibration. So it's a catch-21. You want to, in order to raise your vibration, you really do have to focus the brain and control your mind and keep that towards the most positive of thoughts. And the most positive starts with gratitude of everything. So also what happens with Spirit is connecting to source or connecting to a higher power. Gratitude is viewed as a way of acknowledging and appreciating the blessings in your life. And when you do that, it strengthens your connection to a higher power, the universe, or whatever you perceive. Because I will tell you this, when I do readings, I'm a medium, and I do readings every day. And the ones that are, even if they're in great grief, if they have an attitude of gratitude or something like that, I have to tell you, the readings I get a lot more from the readings for them, for whoever comes in. It's a whole different vibration here. When somebody comes in open-hearted, it's a whole different experience. And so the other thing with gratitude is, if you want to release the resistance. So holding on to negative emotions like resentment or anger or jealousy is seen as lowering your vibration, and it creates a resistance to receiving good things. So gratitude helps release these emotions. See, it does this, and it allows you to be more open to receiving. So that's really important. Gratitude also involves appreciating the here and now, being in the moment, living in the present moment. So that helps to ground you in the present moment. And that's considered, and that when you can do that, that's considered a higher vibrational state, other than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. This is such a chaotic world. To stay in the moment is the best thing to do. So, unconditional love and compassion. So, gratitude can extend beyond any material possessions or personal gains. And it really does encompass appreciation for others, for nature, and for life itself. So, that fosters this feeling of unconditional love. And that also keeps you in a high vibrational state. It's so important. And inner peace. I mean, ultimately, the consistent practice of gratitude leads to that sense of inner peace. And that's during this time period. It is so important if you to make a change if you can. And not every soul in this lifetime is going to be doing that. Some souls will just continue down the road that they have been. But many souls signed up for this time for the opportunity to grow and expand and raise their vibration, even in what would be considered great stress. It's like taking a master's class on Earth at this time. So, how do you practice gratitude? Journaling absolutely is a big one. So maybe keep a notebook by your bed or somewhere where, every morning or every evening you write down 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for. And you can be specific if you want. Instead of, I'm grateful for my family, try, I'm grateful for the way my partner made me laugh this morning. I love my dog and I love her little white spot on her neck. I love that my dog Charlotte is getting better from her sprained shoulder. I'm so happy about that. Such gratitude about that. And that's a real thing that has happened. So start your day with also 1 or 2 or 3 gratitude affirmations. I am grateful for my health and vitality. I'm grateful for the love and support in my life, whatever it happens to be. I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful I'm breathing. Anything like that. Because affirmations help to reprogram our mindset. And remember, the mind, you have to control it. You just have to control it. And another thing that you can do is you can go out for a walk, and we call this a gratitude walk. So even if it's just a short one, even if you're just walking around your house, notice the beautiful things around you. Notice maybe something in nature if you're outside, or maybe notice the kindness of strangers if you see that, or just maybe the simple pleasures of being alive. And what happens is when you're combining the benefits of gratitude with physical work and the mental benefits of being in nature, it raises your vibration. So all of these things are ways to raise your vibration. Why do we want to raise our vibration? It helps us change, and we're here to grow and to change. So it's very important. And possibly you can do gratitude sharing, maybe with a friend or a family member or whatever, or, say, hey, what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for this or whatever. Send a text to somebody maybe and just telling them you're appreciative of them, But gratitude strengthens relationships and it spreads positivity. Also, if you can, get a practice of meditation. Meditation, even if it's just for a few minutes a day, is really worth it. It's such a good thing to do. Some people keep a gratitude jar, and that kind of is in a visible place, and they write down what they're grateful for, and they put it in there, and it just reminds them. So I think that's really important. And then maybe before you go to bed, reflect on your day and identify 1, 2, or 3 things that you are grateful for. And that can help you end your day on a positive note and does promote a restful sleep. And I would say be consistent with this, because habits take a while to make. And this is a good habit you want to get into, is practicing gratitude. Again, it will change the way your life goes to have these kind of things. So also, gratitude can transform loss and grief and hardship, because you can shift your focus from what's lost to what remains. And James and I just did a whole show on grief. And if you didn't see that, you can go back and watch it. We did that on Tuesday. And grief is a huge, huge thing. And so sometimes we can, not always, but sometimes it's okay. And it is okay, but to shift the focus into going forward. And so to look at that. So gratitude often will help us shift that focus of what we still have, even in the middle of pain. It acknowledges that good exists alongside the sorrow, and it prevents us from being completely consumed by negativity. So I remember when I was in deep grief, I remember just was all I could do to have a cup of tea. And I remember holding on to that cup of tea and I was so grateful that I had that tea at that moment. Those kind of things always stick in my mind. And find lessons in growth. Hardship often represents opportunities for learning and growth, and gratitude helps us appreciate the lessons learned from adversity. Again, gratitude is everything. Connect with others if you can. Gratitude also can help you find a purpose. It can lead to a renewed sense of purpose after a loss or a hardship. So again, cultivating that, and promoting healing. It can also help with promoting healing. So there's a lot of things, great things I can say about gratitude. So think about these kind of things, and enjoy this road with gratitude. It will change your life. So I wanted to get into some questions from people today. And hi, Michelle Kavanaugh. How was your elementary school reunion? I want to know how that was. Amber, you're grateful for the beautiful weather in San Diego. I bet you are. I get it. Karen says, Kelly, I rewatched our session today, and it was just as good as the first time. Oh, you're so sweet, Karen. Thank you very much. Whenever anybody has a session with me, I record it and send it to you, so you'll have it forever. You just have to keep it, download it, and keep it, and I appreciate that very much. And before I forget, my November calendar is up now for everybody. If you want to look at that, I have openings in November. And James and I are back together on You in the Universe, and it's on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And this Tuesday coming up, we're going to be having a Halloween show. So I'm really excited about that. Very excited about that. Don't forget, I have a Roots of Healing the Chaos Within, and that's on November 15th, Central Time at 11 a.m. or 9 a.m. Central Time. And so it's going to be the Roots of Healing that Dr. Shirley Pellizzari and Carrie Gonia and I do. We try to do it once a year or twice a year even, but this year it'll be on November 15th, and it's going to be on Zoom. And I'm going to be talking about the karmic imprints and soul contracts. And Shirley is going to be talking about somatic experience, grounding, looking at traumas in life. And Carrie is going to be actually doing a family constellation. So this is going to be an extraordinary event. If anybody would like to join us, I think it's a 4-hour event. It's really mind-boggling how much everybody gets out of this. So much information comes out. And it really, when Carrie does her family constellation, well, very, very powerful. It's life-changing. And then also I found out from Jen Weigel that the All Souls Retreat, Jen and Amy both, Amy O'Keefe, they told me that I think they have about 10 spots left for the All Souls Retreat, and that's November 7th to 9th. And that's in beautiful Fontana, Wisconsin. And I will be there. I'm one of the speakers. I'll be talking about empaths, and I have a twist on that. I'm really excited to do that. Oh, and before I forget to, in my shop, we're going to, if you watch my social media, we're going to have some coupons and discounts and t-shirts, I understand, and I still love my cup. I've used this. I love this cup so much. So I just love this. Anyway, that's what is going on here. So let me answer a couple of questions here. Kim Ann Snodgrass, she says, Kim, you're so funny. She says, okay, gird your loins for this one. I'm all prepared. I recently heard some podcasters talking about how there's been a large uptick in cryptic sightings in the 50 years. And this podcaster summarized that we are getting close to the end of times. And this was the reason why. What do I think? Yeah, no, we're getting close to the end of a lot of things. The way we have, our lives are changing a great deal. Things are definitely changing here. particularly in the United States. Um, but is it the end of times? No, I think almost feels like to me like a speed up of times, and it's not the end of times. It's the end of the way we have known a lot of things. I think there's a huge transformation that's going on right now, but is it the end? No, no way. Um, Carlene Reese, she says, Kellee, I just wanted to let you know that I really enjoyed the show with you and James. Thank you, honey. She said, thanks so much for answering the question about your grandmother. So Carlene had asked me during the live broadcast if I had a grandmother that was Jehovah's Witness. And she said, have I ever seen her after she had passed away? Because Jehovah's are, they have a mindset. And I did. I'd seen her a couple of times, actually. And she had come to me and said, at one point she apologized. She was an interesting gal. And, but, she was a great farmer. I have to tell you that. She was a great, great farmer. They lived on a farm. And there's not a time I'm outside where I'm not thinking of her. Like, I made grape jelly recently and picked my own grapes to do it. So much fun. I love it. She was a canner and all that. And I found myself having a conversation with her. But anyway, she also had said to me that she had gone back on the other side and was studying psychology. I thought that was extraordinary. So, and those were all in dreams that she had said this to me. But she says, I have a few questions I love to ask, but the one I wanted was most answered. She said, I was raised Catholic, but in the 90s, Carlene says, I decided to study with Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not anymore, but sometimes I just worry too much if I'm doing the right thing. I feel deeply about spiritual things, but then I believe in things that aren't really considered Christian, like crystals and reincarnation and aliens. I've tried organized religion. How'd that go for you? But I was told if I didn't believe this or that I wasn't Christian, so I'm on my own. You're like Karen the cow. You're on your own. Now I'm just trying to spread kindness and to be a decent person. That is the spiritual law right there. Kindness, be a decent person. Show up for others. It's simple. It's so darn simple. She said, now that I know that if your grandmother came through, yes, that there really is more. Yes. Oh, I see why that was important to you. Oh, let me tell you what. Let me tell you, Carlene, this is what happened. Before she died, she refused to have a blood transfusion because they don't believe that. And my mother said, if you don't have a blood transfusion, you're going to die. And she said, she said, it did. She said, my mother said, Daddy wouldn't have wanted you to do that. And she said, your daddy was a sinner. Because he was a Southern Baptist. I mean, anyway, it was just a nutty time. I said to my mother, I was very young in my early 20s, and I said, let her go. It's okay. And she told us that when she died, that Jehovah was going to knock on her door in 30 years, and off she'd go. I turned to my mom and I said, even I knew at that time, oh, this doesn't work that way. I always had this gut feeling that it didn't work that way. So, Carlene, no, you don't have to worry. Just be spiritual. Be as spiritual as you can, because I know that the Jehovah's do talk about Armageddon and all of that. And Jesus is going to wake you up and all that. Yeah. No, my grandma came to us and was like, whoa, I'm studying psychology now. I think it was important for her. That group kind of took care of her. She loved that group. Of course, she'd been Jehovah for years. I mean, like years. I would say almost most of her life, even. Yeah, it was a group. Anyway, I hope that answers your question, Carlene. And be free, honey. Be free. I think that's really important. Charlene Miller says, Kellee, I told you about my neighbor next door. Yeah, Mike that grew tired. Mike's birthday was 5/1. Can you get a message from him? Yeah. Charlene, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Her neighbor did suicide, completed suicide. I have to tell you, Charlene, that happened to somebody I know very well. The neighbor died, and it was like that. It was pretty awful. It's an awful, awful thing, But let's get you a card from him. Let me just do these cards here. Charlene, we'll get that one from me. I was thinking a lot about you, Charlene. That's a big one. He says, I'm just a thought away, and I have a feeling he's with one of his dogs. Okay, I think it was his time to go. even though he completed suicide. Sometimes when souls suicide, it's, as James and I have said many times, maybe they took on too much. It's just too painful of an existence here. And there's a huge understanding for that. Huge understanding for that. It's a shock to everybody. But pay attention to signs. It's just so recent. Charlene, just pay attention to signs. I'm sure you will see from him and hear from him. Hi, Carla. Thank you. I've been in a blue state a lot lately. Okay, so Cheryl says, Kellee, is the energy acting up again? Yes. And she says, I've been feeling blah for the last 2 days. Yes, it is starting to act up again. We had a little bit of a break, and now it's going to be amping up starting probably tomorrow. Probably starting tomorrow here. Yeah. So, thanks, Patty. Look forward to this. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay, Julie Munsterman says, my birthday was between the eclipses and my big change happened today. I got notice that we have to move out of our rental and need to find a new home. Okay, let's get you a card. And your current home is a 1. Interesting. Well, again, this is how things happen. All of a sudden, eclipses, you think, how in the world, what's going to happen? And then, kaboom, we get what it is. Here, let me do this. I have these angel number cards that I'm using, the angel number deck. I love these cards. So let's go here with you, Julie, and get you a card for everything that's happening. Ooh, okay. 2255, self-love. But look at the numbers, 2255. So Julie, let's see something. It's a 5 number. I wonder if you will be moving into a house with a 5 or a 22 or a 55. Okay, so look at that and we'll see. We'll play that by ear because you never know. Carla says, I appreciated what you said about it's not too late to get into your authentic self and to get into your purpose. It's very true. When you mentioned that last week, it made me feel so much better. I got that message in a meditation this week as well, Carla. It's so true. We spend a whole lifetime to get to where we are. And then what happens is our consciousness shifts. And when our consciousness shifts, then we start to align with what our purpose is. Why are we here? It's more of has such a depth to it, but we can't rush that process. Like I had no idea when I was younger. I didn't have a clue at 50. I didn't have a clue until I got to, pretty recently. I would say the last several years. It just kind of aligned me to where I was, So Renee says, Kellee, so kind as to pull a card for me. Yes, your nephew died. I'm so sorry, on October 9th from suicide, and you're still recovering. Renee, let's get you a card here, honey. I'm so sorry. I've got chills. He is definitely trying to get your attention. Make sure his family knows that. This is a good one. I'm standing right next to you, and there's a picture of a man, a young man. There you go, Renee. Make sure that his family sees that, okay? Please know that. They do not go to hell. Nobody's gone to hell, okay? Oh, and before I forget, Rita Vors, I'm going to get you a card, honey. Rita, this is for your birthday from last week. Here, Rita. Ooh, Rita, this is a good one. 000, new beginnings. 000. That means you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Whenever anybody sees 000, it's where God letting you know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Ooh, that's a good one, Rita. I love that. Sonia says, may I have a card? 3 years ago, it was, the transition of your spouse feels like yesterday. I'm so sorry, Sonia. Let's get you a card. Ooh, I've got chills. I will always point you in the right direction. Look for his clock, a watch, a time, anything to do with out in nature. He's watching over you. Again, just like that story I was telling today about the oinking of the pig, our loved ones are always around us. And here's the thing, this energy right now, as we get closer to the veil, which is really end of October 31st, 1st, 2nd of November, that All Souls Day. It's unbelievable. That veil gets so thin that it's easier for them to give us signals. It's easier all of a sudden to hear a voice. to smell something. I worked with a widow today, and her husband died in January, and she said, I keep smelling him, which I thought was lovely. I love that one. So, they try in every which way they can to let us know that they are there and that they're always with us, okay? So please know that. So Jen Shelley says, my first grandchild was born on October 19th. May I have a card for her, please? Yeah, absolutely. But first of all, congratulations. That's so exciting, Jen. I mean, that to me, that I love being a grandmother so, so much. Okay, 3 of clubs. Oh my gosh, Jen, my granddaughter's also a 3 of clubs. 3 of clubs is very, very creative. They'll be wildly creative here and very intuitive. Let's get a card here. Ooh, she comes in with the masters, 333. She'll have lots of support and get lots of wonderful teachers around her. Lots of wonderful teachers around her. I think that would be great. Annie says, can I get a card? Yes, knee replacement is scheduled for next week, and my EKG just showed I've had a heart attack. Really? Annie? Well, I'll be darned. Well, let's get you a special card here. You're having a knee replacement, and your EKG just showed you had a heart attack, but they're still doing the knee replacement. That's interesting. Well, let's get you a card. It's interesting. There's a piece of, there's a 22 in harmony, and it's got a heart here. I know you said you had a heart attack. Interesting. The heart is there. So look for 22s. 22 is a master builder. It often helps when there's going to be a knee replacement because it's a builder. So that's actually a great card for you. That's a great card for you. My goodness. And Roger says, can I get a card? 927. Yes, you can. Let's get you a card in, Rogers. Here, ooh, I love this. Infinity. What do they say? Infinity and back or something like that. I love this. Infinity. That's got great meaning into that. Amber says, every morning when I pray, I end it with all that I'm grateful for. How great is that? Amber, that's a smart thing to do. Kim says, the last 3 nights, 3 kittens have come to my porch at 4 a.m. to play around the pumpkins. So sweet. It is sweet, Kim. That is sweet. Hi, Linda from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I do love that. Carla says, today is the 30th anniversary of my mom's passing, and her birthday would have been on October 28th, my favorite day of the year. For some reason, I love that day. I'm grateful that she's been around me gently and graciously for the past few days. It's been marvelous to have her around me. So even though your mother has passed 30 years ago, I have chills, they're still around us. They're still around us. They still will wait for us. They still all that. Charlene, you love cows too. Yeah, you can just see it, the love from them. I love that. Yeah, so Karen took off. Yep, to try to get her some. That's very funny, Karen. Probably. I thought that was just was bummed. Okay, Angela, a friend of mine who passed used to turn on alarm clocks of his and that we had in the house. They do that, Angela. I forgot about that. Alarm clocks will go off. Timers will go off. Those kind of things will happen, which is kind of interesting. Let's see. Raquel says, Kelly, please give us an idea when the White House will be a kinder house and better for the people. And that's a great question. Probably not for some time, Raquel. Probably not for some time. I think we have a lot of change still going on. And probably now by next June, we will have Jupiter moving into Cancer for a year. And at that point in Vedic astrology, things may get a little more peaceful then. So that is a possibility. It would be about that period of time. Hi, Gayla. She says, geez, that's during my birthday, 11/12. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You're not planning on traveling? Yeah, that period of time is maybe contentious. It just may be. So that's okay. Yeah, Kim says, I'm going to Anguilla, but in November, so I'm going to pretend I didn't hear you. Listen, Kim Ann, I'm flying tomorrow to Fort Worth and to Texas, and I'm just going to, do my best. Stay in a positive state. That's all. Okay. Jen Gurney says, this week I asked my husband to show me a sign because I'm dealing with stress, helping my kids with their dad who's dying of cancer. Well, you have had it rough, Jen. With my naked eye, I watched a ball of light pass in front of my TV screen. Oh, your husband is so active. I got chills, Jen. He's active. He's so going to help you. He's so helping. They do want to help us. And that's the kind of way just to let you know he's there, Jen. You saw that with your naked eye. I'm so thrilled. Okay, on which wrist should we wear our crystal bracelets? I've always heard that I heard this just the other day, so it's a good question, to wear it on the left hand because it's close to your heart. That's what I've heard. Now, I tend to wear it on the right hand, but that's what I had heard. It's on the left hand. So I think that's amazing. Yes, hi, Nancy. You can certainly have a card. Let's get you a card from your husband. Ooh, he says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. He's so around you, Nancy. He's so around you. He's so around you. Oh, my gosh. Let's see here. Melissa says, can you also feel spiritually? Because every time I go into the tub, my third eye tickles, and I feel like someone is watching over me when I come out. Yeah, you could. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Cheryl says a group of us are going to start a gratitude journey for the month of November. Okay, everybody, I think that is the greatest idea, Cheryl. Okay, I am going to, Michelle, if you're listening, we have to start this we have to do something about this for social media, because that is such a great idea, Cheryl. I have to copy you on that. A group of us are going to start a gratitude journey. If you guys can, I think that's a great idea. I think anybody in groups can do that. I think it will help strengthen everybody. And then what it does is it gives everybody, you know what, I never thought about that. I am grateful for the spaghetti I just ate, or, you know what I mean? I don't know, something along those lines. I think that's great. Okay, Laura Crum. Hi, Laura. Yes, VU breathing is really good because it stimulates the vagus nerve. And Shirley, when we do roots of healing, Shirley's going to be giving us, we're going to talk about the vagus nerve and the VU breathing. That's where you go VU like that. I'm not going to keep doing it, but what it does is it stimulates the vagus nerve. It's a really, really great VU breathing. That was a Dr. Peter Levine somatic experience, and that's what Shirley specializes in. In fact, I think she's going to be with Peter next week working at one of his events, working for him at one of his events. So she'll bring all kinds of things to do during our Roots of Healing. So, hey, Lucky, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, Gail McDade. Hi, Gail. She says, I've been working on staying in the present and gratitude. I feel so much better, and you can tell your vibration is increasing when you practice gratitude. And also remember that in order to change, we have to raise our vibration. So you have to, because we can't make changes in the same attitude, there's no growth in that. There's no growth in that. So that's important. Sherry says, I love the big orange cat who adopted me. He saved me from so much grief, right? And you're grateful to him. They do that. Hi, Kathy Zeniak. The beautiful colors of trees right now. So that is so true. I love fall and the leaves. I love to look at the colors. We have a deep like magenta almost out here. It's spectacular. I love it. Okay, Pauline Fisher says, I'm struggling with letting go of someone from my past. That happens, honey. I'd like to know why I still hold on to this person when they've clearly moved on from me. Well, probably because, Pauline, you didn't get to finish it the way you wanted to. Now, you may not have wanted to let go. And that happens often. It will happen. Somebody's ready to go, and maybe you're not ready yet. And so that's where the work comes in for you. That's what doing the work. Because I'm wondering, did this person treat you badly? And you have to really start being honest with the relationship and looking at yourself. What's important to you? Is self-love important to you? I mean, when there's a break in a relationship, it's the greatest opportunity to learn about yourself. And Pauline, I would really say to you, probably be great for you to have some therapy. It's a great time for that because then you learn so much. It's important. Hi, mystical spiritual energies with Joni. Hi, Kelly. Gratitude, Rita, pops into your head. That's great. That is so great. I'm grateful for you, Rita. Joanne says, I'm grateful for you right now. Your kindness, compassion comes through tenfold. Thanks, Joanne. I appreciate that. When I did a show last week on, I think it was last week, on empathy, and Jean had asked me the question, the difference between empathy and compassion. And empathy is really important, and it's so needed now. Compassion is that energy of taking some action for it. So thank you, Joanne. I think that's really important. So Pina Hernandez, she says, grief was extremely difficult for me when I listened to Dad. I understand it better now. I'm glad you do, Pina. That's really, really good. I'm glad that you do, because I think that's really, really important. So mystical spiritual says, Kelly, I'd like to know too when things will start to lighten up with our USA, possibly in June of next year. June is when Jupiter is the largest planet, and it's the spiritual guru, and it will bring a deep spirituality. It will be moving into Cancer for 1 year. Now, it's there right now for 6 weeks, so we'll but it's marred by so many other hard energies. I'm telling you, it's some time period. But June of next year, it could show a lightening for that year. It could, because Jupiter is its home. Cancer is its home. It's exalted in Cancer. That's what I'm trying to say. It's exalted, and that could really bring good energy to the planet again. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, there are a lot of things that happened before then. Oh, it's a time period. It's a time period. So let's see. Oh, thank you, Sherry. It's very sweet. Okay, Laura Crum says, my husband's dad just passed a few hours ago. Oh, I've got chills. Laura, I'm so sorry, honey. And this has been the 4th really close family member for him in less than a year. And your husband is such a doll, Laura. He is such a doll. I'm so sorry, boy. Just tell him that his father is with his mother, okay? The grandmother. Please know that. Okay, Laura? Make sure he knows that. Okay. Ooh. Oh, I got chills. My mind is free. So my mind is free. It's like he just stepped through the door into heaven. And that's really what happens when we move into that energy. It is an extraordinary energy. There's no words to describe it. I want you, Laura, to pay attention to your dreams, your thoughts, your feelings, everything that goes on. He's lost a lot of it. To lose 4 people in less than a year is tremendous. So make sure he knows how loved, because he may start to feel, it's a shaky feeling when you lose a lot of members. It's shaky when you lose 1. To lose 4 is shaky, because it knocks us off it ungrounds us. So, I know you're such a loving presence, Laura, and I'm so sorry. Just give him my love, but tell him that his father is with his mother. Okay? Please know that. There you go. Okay, can't wait for Halloween, Rose. Well, we're going to have a fun Halloween show. Pina says, I'm grateful for my life in Spain. How great for you. I think that's great. Barbara Miller says, trying to listen to you, but I'm watching my Vikings. Go Vikings. There you go. I understand. Patty says, Kelly, I'm grateful for my husband living this long, but it's killing me to see him going through the slow process of losing his spirit. But remember, Patty, this is what the soul is needing. Like, why is it? Eckhart Tolle says, why is this the experience I'm having now? It's the experience my soul is needing. So it's far be it for any of us to understand why the soul is requiring this. Maybe for you, it's bringing you closer to him. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay, Renee says, a question about the destiny cards. Can we use them for planning an event? Absolutely. I use them every day for planning an event. Exactly like I would use astrology. I love planning with the destiny cards. I'll look at the day. I'll look at the week. I'll look at the year. I'll look at the month. Oh, yeah. I use them really well, Renee. They work great. I look at them every day to see where they are with everything. And I have an app. And on my app, if everybody joins my app, I have a destiny, astrology, and numerology, all three of those combined using Vedic astrology per day. And I have a destiny information for everybody for that day of what the information would mean. So, well, everybody, listen, it's been great to see everybody and to hear from everybody. Thank you so much for watching my show. Really, I have gratitude for all of you very much. And I'm going to be on my way to Texas, but I'll be back on Tuesday to do a show with James. And I look forward to seeing everybody this Tuesday and the following Thursday. So have a great week, everybody. Take care, my friends.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.